How's it going, everybody? I am DeanoGTO, and today we're looking at the MX AC-48, the Tier 8 tank destroyer in the French tank destroyer line. This is the first vehicle in this tank destroyer line that actually gets access to the autoloading mechanism, and personally I think that's kind of an interesting decision. I would have wanted this honestly on the Tier 7, because the Tier 7 is, I'd say, probably one of the worst Tier 7 tank destroyers. I know that's something that's kind of hard to really identify, because there's so many Tier 7 tank destroyers which are just in general pretty bad, but I really do think that the MX AC-46 is a pretty horrendous vehicle to play. It is one of the most awkward things I've ever played in my life, and I would never really want to go back and play that thing again. And I never even bothered unlocking the tracks on that thing, because I was just like, no, I hate this. Get me through this as quickly as possible. But this thing here, I've only really played it seriously with the 120mm autoloader. I did play it with the 100mm to grind out the 120mm autoloader, but I only really played it for a while with the 100mm. I didn't really play it very much, and then I sold the tank, and then I rebought it whenever it got changed to a 120mm instead of being when it got changed, I should say, to a 120mm autoloader rather than 120mm single shot gun. And I personally think the autoloader works a lot better for this tank than the single shot gun ever did. And I really do like it as a playstyle. I like how unique it is in comparison to all the other vehicles in the game, because there's no really there's no real comparison to the French tank destroyer line now. There's no equivalent. All the other tank destroyer lines have single shot guns. This is the only one that has the autoloading mechanic, and it makes me wonder, are they going to introduce an auto reloading tank destroyer line at some point? Now I've just thought that there, I wonder what the hell that would be like. Huh. But yeah, I've got kind of sidetracked. So you can see here that I've spotted the T29 that was in front of me there, and I for some reason decided to go for 2 shots in the T29 rather than going for a shot in that Scorpion G, because the Scorpion G would have been pretty much guaranteed damage, but I do manage to at least get 1 shot into the T-34-2 GFT, which the Scorpion G then finishes off. So right now we know there's a T-29 and a Scorpion G in pretty much the same position, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through my reload at this point, and I'm just trying to gauge what's the best thing to do here at this moment, because the T-29 is kind of just trying to spot us at the moment, and I'm going to just aim towards where I think I should maybe be able to penetrate this guy. I actually penetrated his cupola. I was actually aiming at his I guess you would call it the small armor section just above his gun mantlet. It's a very, very small section of armor, but it is something that you can penetrate with standard rounds in, I think, other T-29s as an example. I think T-29s can pin themselves in that little area, but it's kind of an awkward area to hit, so I figured I would just try and aim for that there, and I actually got lucky and actually RNG put my shot into his cupola, which worked out pretty nicely and got me an extra little bit of damage there. But at the moment, the autoloaders only really come in handy in one situation, and that was where I was firing at the T-29, then the Scorpion G was spotted, and then T-34-2 GFT was spotted. So there was a large cluster of enemy vehicles that were just spotted all at once, and that was the only real time so far that the autoloaders been truly differential in comparison to a single shotgun. So I'm going to start pushing forward here, just trying to just make something happen on this flank, because at the moment not really much has really been done. I mean, we've killed one enemy tank, they've killed one of our tanks on this flank. That's really it at this point. But we're going to just head forward here and just look around to see if I can see if there's any other enemy tanks around, keeping eyes out in front of me just in case there's any other enemy vehicles. But I choose to finish off the T-29 here first, just to remove him from the battle. I then start just firing shots into the Scorpion G, trying to finish him off. Batshot gets 1 shot into the Scorpion G and then finishes him off with a 2nd shot. So that was a situation there where having the autoloader was pretty much perfect. In a normal single shot tank, I would have had to kill the T-29, then the Scorpion G probably would have swung around and got a shot into me for free. So having the autoloader there really did make a difference in my opinion, and it actually helped me get a bit more damage there. But now I'm just waiting on the gun reloading, and the TS5 and the SU-130PM just fall back just as my gun is finishing its reload. And TS5 starts coming forward again, but I know what the shape of that thing's hull is like. I know that the tracks actually extend out quite far beyond its hull, so there's no real point in me just shooting its tracks and doing nothing to it. But I can see or not scorpion, sorry. I can see that there's a leopard PTA right here. I managed to stick 2 shots into him, finishing him off. So that removes another enemy tank from the game. I'm now just looking for a shot in this TS5, and don't really see one. SU-130PM actually shoots me there, and well, I get a shot into him for no damage in return. Like, that's worked out pretty nicely for me so far. Type 4 Heavy actually managed to finish off the SU-130PM, which is a very important gun removed from the game, because that thing there could just be an absolute nightmare for us to kill if we left it alive for much longer, because it could just sit there and just remain stealth behind bushes and just get shots into us with no real threat of getting shot back. And then TS5 actually gets a shot into my rear drive wheel, tracking me in place, and it's a good thing I had my repair kit there, because that guy, if he'd been in a good position there, he could have potentially perma-tracked me with his rate of fire, because my crew is not very good in this tank. As you probably noticed, I actually don't have 6th Sense on this thing, and that has gotten me killed on a multitude of occasions, but the crew is improving as I've been playing this tank. It's just that I was a bit stupid whenever I was playing this thing like in the past. I actually got rid of my old tier 7 tank destroyer crew and just trained up a brand new crew for this thing, which was a pretty stupid thing to do in hindsight, but I didn't really think about it too much whenever I was doing it at the time. But I managed to get 2 more shots into the TS5 on the right, and then missed my final shot of the game on the TS5 on the left. But you can see there that in situations like that there, like where that TS5 was on the right hand side and the TS5 on the left, if that last shot on the TS5 on the left had a hit, chances are I probably would have got maybe 1 shot off with a normal tier 8 tank destroyer. Maybe 2 if it had been the UDA-03. But the oddler on this thing here can come in seriously handy in situations like that where you have multiple vehicles to share your shots between. I mean, alpha damage can be great, like ISU-152 can be absolutely spectacular when it comes to just dealing out massive damage to one vehicle, but being able to spread your damage around to multiple enemy vehicles inside of like a, what was it, like a 5.5 second time frame, it's incredibly useful, and it's incredibly just valuable to be able to do that there and just like gradually like pick away at the enemy team's health or gradually pick away at the enemy team's numbers. So it is something that can come in very handy. I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't give the French tier 8 premium tank destroyer the autoloading mechanic as well, because I feel like that would have been pretty damn sweet for that vehicle. And I think with that thing's mobility, like, it doesn't have much armor. I feel like the mobility paired with an autoloader probably could have been a pretty devastating combination, but unfortunately it just has a single shot on 105mm gun. It doesn't have a particularly like special gun. It's pretty much just an equivalent to the Canon Jagdpanzer. But who knows, like, they could potentially rebalance that vehicle in the future if they go through and do like the general rebalance that they've been talking about for a while now. And it's good to hear that Wargaming is still working on that general rebalance patch, and they've actually released some details for that, like for the medium tanks. I'll be curious to see like what other details they release for that just over time, because I don't think they're going to just do it all at once. I feel like they're probably going to spread it across multiple patches, so it'll probably take a while for them to fully just do the overall rebalance, just to like let people like ease into it, if that makes sense. So it'll be interesting to see like where the game goes over the next like probably like 3-4 patches, I'd say, because they'll probably do half the rebalance in one patch and half of it in another patch. Although personally I prefer for them to just do it all in one patch, just to get all out of the way just quick as possible, let people get complaints out of their system and then get used to like the changes that are going to be made. Like, it's good to see that the Object 430U is going to be nerfed, even though it's not as much as I would hope. It's good to see it's getting nerfed in some shape or form at least. But Wargaming did mention that there were like tier 8 premiums that potentially were going to get reworked alongside their standard line counterparts. Like I think the STA2 was mentioned, as well as the Indian Panzer. So I don't see any reason why they couldn't potentially look at the French tier 8 tank destroyer as well. So I think that's probably not out of the realms of possibility, although I wouldn't guarantee it by any stretch of the imagination. It's possible, but not likely, I would say. So let me know what you guys think of this video in the comment section below, and let me know how many people have actually I should say, let me know how many people, or how many of you have actually gone down the French autoloading tank destroyer line, because I don't think it's a particularly common line in the game. So it'd be interesting to know if I'm wrong on that or not, because I feel like I don't see very many of these things around, but that could be because it's an old line. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.